Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of Meet the Tech Titans Season 2, which is brought to you by Hutch. On the series, courtesy of Hutch, we talk to individuals who've actually made an impact in the world of technology, in the world of IT. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that they are right smack in the middle of IT, but whatever they are doing in their industries, IT and technology is actually playing a huge role. And how do these individuals actually take that and make their industries better? That's what we're looking at as far as Meet the Tech Titans is concerned. And this is Season 2. Like I said, it's brought to you by Hutch. And a big thank you to our venue partner. It's Collabs, and we're obviously shooting this fantastic podcast series at Collabs at Havelock City. Today, we have another very interesting individual who's going to be talking to us about something. It's very it's a phrase that's actually been coined, and it's a phrase that's been around for a while. We're going to get into the nitty-gritties of that phrase to find out exactly what it's all about. It's Zafrullah Hashim on the show with us. Zaf, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you for having me here.
And lots to talk about.
Lots
to talk about. And I know you're right smack in the middle and pushing Sri Lankanization. Okay, for those individuals out there who obviously are not too familiar with Sri Lankanization, can you explain in the most simplest way what it is and what is the real core of Sri Lankanization?
Well, Sri Lankanization, simply put, is identifying ourselves and seeing where we want to go by using technology.
Right.
It's about being a global citizen as a local individual and pushing it to all the barriers that you are currently facing. It could be the brain drain challenge in the country. It could be about not being exposed to what the global citizens are getting, but we are missing out. So how can we together build a brand name for Sri Lankans in the global era?
Okay, so where did this inspiration come from, Zaf? At which point did it come?
So 2 years ago, I moved to Dubai.
Right.
And I heard about Emiratization.
Right.
And I studied what is Emiratization about, right? And a country like Dubai, who are a global tycoon, they are focusing on their citizens so much and calling it Emiratization to help their local citizens. Whereas we, as Sri Lankans, have a lot more to do for our citizens to be a global brand. Because 2 years ago when I moved there and I meet like the top folks or the C-level, most of these meetings, and I tell them that I'm a Sri Lankan, the next thing that I hear is, oh, my nanny is a Sri Lankan, my maid's a Sri Lankan, or my driver is a Sri Lankan. No, man, we are a better brand than that. Right? We've had some amazing intellectual people in the past, even in present, who are doing great things. But we are not out there showing that off. But what we are showing is, this is what we've built a brand. So when we have a good brand, I think the rest will follow. And the Sri Lankanization is an initiative to drive that in order to, bridge that gap between the tradition and innovation.
Okay, so what's the core of Sri Lankanization? What does it do?
To educate people, right? To educate people, to upskill them, and to expose them into what's happening outside in the world, which you are not doing, right? Because being here, not being able to get exposed to such experiences keeps us very lag behind, right? You go back into the rural areas to even, forget about the city, you go a bit further out of Colombo, I mean, you're still not aligned to the new trends of, technological advancements, using of AI today, right? It's not only about ChatGPT, but basically how do you use AI in your modern work to make life much more faster, much more efficient, and also help you, because today we still have that scare of IT, tech, computers. No, it's for everyone today. and everyone can build it. You could be a grocery store, right? All you need to do is learn a few tips and tricks, and you would have fast-tracked yourself.
Now, you obviously have a very bold goal of 10,000 individuals that you want to obviously train 10,000
Yeah.
individuals in AI and also data and security. How do you actually see this reshaping Sri Lanka's digital future?
So yeah, so if you actually take Trainocate, this June it's going to be 5 years since I set up Trainocate here in Sri Lanka.
Right.
So we're a Japanese-owned company. We're based out of 24 countries. So as a global entity, since we've come here 5 years ago, we've trained about 18 to 20,000 individuals,
Wow.
right, across corporates, right? I mean, top corporates. We've trained nearly about close to about 80 to 100 top corporates, and recently we even bridged the gap. I mean, we introduced these programs into universities and campuses, especially in the last 2 years with all these brain drain challenges. Most of the organizations started losing their people. And the only way that we could do is upskill the existing workforce or manufacture new folks from the university, because today academia is still teaching you generic subjects and not professional certifications that is relevant to organization. Organizations can't be training people anymore, right? Because the moment they train them for 6 months, they are gone. Today they're looking for plug and play resources. And the only way that you can do that is to provide them with professional training, professional certifications, training them on subjects that are relevant for an organization, where they become a plug and play resource. So we've been running the industry academia bridging program quite a lot. So for me, nailing 10,000 individuals along with now with Hutch, right, as a partner, it's not a big deal for sure, right? Because here we are targeting the masses,
Right.
not the tech folks. Now the 20,000 that I told you about is mostly tech folks. So what's the percentage of tech folks in an organization? 5-7%? But today we are going to the next 90-95%. The masses, the frontliners, the sales, the marketing, the operation, right? How do you use AI in your day-to-day life? There's so much of data out there. AI is not going to work without data.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you basically help? How can you as an individual of this particular department help the organization? By cleaning those data up, by putting them in the right place, which will give you proper responses. But then once you have all of that, how secured is your framework? So everyone's not going to be trained on everything. We're going to specialize people based on, and our platform basically helps you to filter out who's good in what.
Right.
So it's not a blind, task that we are doing. We are identifying the right people for the right job, and the country will have these resources. Public sector will have these resources. Private sector will have these resources.
What are these resources you're talking about?
Human resources.
Okay.
We're
Right.
talking about developing people.
So developing people who are more aligned with what's going on in terms of the tech world.
Exactly.
Okay, your Sri Lankanization that you've obviously launched, and it's pretty much out there. What does it do? What will it do to an individual?
It'll basically help you find a good job. It'll also help you to be in sync with what the global economy requires. Today, resources on data, AI, security are just a walk-in into any organization around the world. And when I moved to Dubai, we did during the last Chai Techs, 2 years ago, we were the Sri Lankan partner, and we brought in about 11 companies from Sri Lanka, like top companies, and we connected them with the distributors out there, with the local partners out there. So these guys will get global expansion opportunities. Today, there's so much of remote jobs out there that can be, or there are resources that are required out there. So we can start supplying skilled labor, either by they being here or they can move out there, right? Rather than unskilled labor, we start building a brand towards ourselves. So and we're talking about global tech hub. We're talking about port city investments from foreign aid. We're talking about different associations running so much of programs, short sessions, webinars, or gala sessions, bringing in speakers. But do we have a proper lifelong learning plan? Right? We are going to have Port City, we are going to have international companies come here. Do you want us to bring, for them to start bringing people from their countries? No, we need to start building resources here so they can recruit them from here. The moment we do not have enough resources here, what's the next step?
But we don't have any resources
Exactly.
because we have a huge brain drain issue.
100%.
How is Sri Lankanization planning on addressing that?
So this is why we're starting off with the basics. We've created a platform that teaches you the entire modern working tools, right, from any basic individual. And then it goes on to the fundamentals of what AI is, fundamentals of what data is. So then we also have like a dashboard that will provide you info about each individual's strengths, what they are capable of. So you can filter them out. You do kind of additional trainings for them. Or you could give, now we've given internships for these folks who's actually passed these certifications into organizations. So they start developing them. So our job is to bring in these foundation, filter them out and give it out to the market, hire them. Here you are. These are the guys who's going to help you guys out.
So what, in terms of the reasons, what can we actually give a reason for the top talent to stay back in Sri Lanka, yet have that global connection without leaving the shores?
Well, stay in the country, yes. This is one of the most beautiful countries wherever you go. Right now, I come here every 2-3 months because I want this breath of air, the freshness of air, the people, the warmth, the food, to everything.
You won't get it anywhere else.
You'll never get it anywhere else, right? But then again, I sold my Honda, there's a Honda Fit GP5 car, and I bought a Dodge Charger there.
Right.
Right. So it all depends on, so that's not a question that I can answer. How this country's infrastructure to, people being able to accommodate and facilitate what they desire, right? But then again, you can be an individual who's driving international business with the talented resources here, with coming up with good skills, right skills, cheaper skills, and to be able to provide these resources out there and start running projects for global companies. Now that's what most of the people are doing.
So Zafrullah, what you're doing, of course, is you're giving computer literacy.
Yeah.
Right? In Sri Lankanization, you're practically giving the masses out there the opportunity of learning Word, learning PowerPoint, learning Excel, etc., etc. Has this not been done before in this country?
Well, there's so much, right? We do not know so much that we do not know that we do not know. So if you actually take a Word course alone, so we've got about 150 courses. Out of that, 1 or 3 would be Word. What? Fundamental, intermediary, expert level.
Right.
Right? Then we've got Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate. Certain applications, Jack, we've not even heard, but it's there. We paid for it. Organizations have already paid for it, but we're not using it.
Because they don't know.
Because they don't know.
Right.
Right? So we've given them a platform where it gives you all the literacy, across different programs. It could be on, business intelligence skills. It could be on tech skills. You wouldn't believe there was an individual, a girl, who actually was working for a factory, right? And she had done a couple of courses on some of these tech courses. And I highlighted this to the top management, and she was transferred to the head office, right? So these are where our Sri Lankanization initiative, they'll be giving opportunities for the right people, because you can see today. Otherwise, what do we do as training? We do it, then we show them proof of execution through pictures and photos, right? And it's a participation certificate. Here, on this platform, you can even see how long they've been on this program. How long have they spent studying here? What are the different courses they've gone through? So you have insights, and this data is what's going to help the organization or anyone, even a person who's hiring, right? Okay, this person really knows what they're doing. Today you take a CV, Word, good. PowerPoint, very good. This, excellent. How do you check? The moment you give them a work, you'll know.
Right.
right? So that is all these need to be aligned and given in a proper way so that organizations will not be investing on people blindly,
Yeah, right.
right?
It's nice that, I mean, it's interesting that you actually brought the fact that they need to be aligned. Now, Sri Lankanization is really not a solo mission.
Yeah.
It's a mission that you obviously tied up with universities, private organizations. For example, Hutch is also tied up with this. Why was this collaborative approach essential?
Well, I can't do this alone. This is something that I woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to do this. Why? Especially because I saw opportunities when these Sri Lankan companies came out there. But there were some companies, they had an amazing product, but they didn't know how to sell themselves.
They didn't know how to deliver.
They didn't know how to deliver. They didn't know how to sell themselves. They didn't know how to pitch out there. So we've got the tech skills, but we do not have the power or the soft skills, right? So this platform has that as well. But this platform is just a means towards the larger picture.
Right.
Why? Because every month we will be bringing in international speakers virtually, talking about how these AI, how to use it in different industries. Then we will be bringing soft skill speakers. We give them opportunities. We identify this. So it's a mission that has begun, and I can't do this alone. I need more collaborative. So even technology-wise today, IT companies, not everyone can do everything.
Yeah.
Right? Some are specialized in data and AI, some are specialized in security, some on business applications, so some on infrastructure and migration. So that way, we are basically trying to promote competition rather than competition out here. So everyone's out there, a community built for the community, which is run by the community. And with Hutch coming into play, that really gave us a biggest, support out here, because I've spoken to a lot of people. They were good listeners, but Hutch just came.
Right.
So we are going for it, right? And they said we're going to give them free internet for the entire year. So that's a massive help. And now, how do we go out there? How do we go to the rural areas? How do we educate the educators, the teachers? Today, kids are becoming more smart.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we educate the teachers to use AI, to build your materials, to, today it's happening out there in the world, right? But we are far behind. So even professors, lecturers, we're talking about mental well-being. Teach them how to use things faster. They'll be very calm and easy
Right.
These are issues that we are trying to.
The thing is this, Zaf, I also want to know, it's a great initiative, right? But there would have been, or there will be pushbacks going forward.
Yeah.
What would you basically tell a corporate that is not necessarily on board with you, or hesitant, or unsure about trying to obviously digital upskill their employees or their staff? What would you tell them?
We're going to lose out on a lot of jobs in the future, right? Because most of these things are getting automated, right? So more than the employers, I would rather talk to the employees, right? Because you can be replaced in the future, right? Even it's happening right away, right? While we speak. So one needs to be skilled, right? Because a person with knowledge, or they've upskilled themselves with the latest technologies, will be more relevant rather than a person who's just trying to be traditional, bookish. Because I've got people who come and spoken to me and ask, I need to learn something on AI, man. I'm scared I might lose my job. Right? I think even my company is pushing it now for us to build our own skills as well, because the first budget to be cut is the training budgets in most of the companies. So you can't be waiting till your organization starts spending on you. You need to invest in yourselves. You're willing to spend, hundreds of thousands on a diploma, degree, and all of this, which is good, and all this. But 7,500 rupees on this platform is all it takes for you to learn, get your certifications and everything. We're selling this at around 280 dirhams actually in Dubai. But for Sri Lanka, we've got some of our CSR budgets and some funding. That's why we've given it at a concessionary rate as well. So, and this is something that you really need. These tools, what we are teaching, are what is needed for you for today and for the future. So
Okay.
be ahead.
So the other thing that you're insisting is the fact that, like you said earlier on, what is your percentage of the tech employees in a company is about 5%.
Exactly.
Then the rest is about 95 to 94%, right? And the rest is the mass,
Sure.
right? For you to reach out to the mass, you do need the government backing for this, right?
Yeah.
What have you done in regards to that?
Well, I've tried from the previous government, I've tried with this government, tried to, I mean, we've spoken, but even for the new team that has been placed, I've sent them the proposals. So I think we received a response saying if it is relevant, then they will.
If it is relevant.
Yeah, some words around that.
Right, okay.
That not exactly, oh my God. But yeah, something around that. But
okay. But you really need to, I mean, in order for you to go out there to the masses, you need the backing of the government.
Oh, I need
right?
it. I need it, and they need us as well.
Right.
Right, because we are here with a program that will work. Right, we're not here just to come and make a big noise about it. We are here to get into that mud and work and make sure it becomes a success. And today, the biggest problem that most of these projects have is that you do not have right trainers and you do not have the right content. We have both. And we are also a globally recognized organization, a world top 20 for the last 5 years consecutively. We were a global learning partner of the year finalist for Microsoft. We were a global learning partner of the year for the last 3 years for AWS. Then we were Cisco learning partner of the year for APJC. I can go on, almost 30 plus vendors. So we're a group that is backed up by these large, vendors, right, hyperscalers. And with government joining hands with us, we could always go back to those vendors and tell them, look, we're doing a project, come join hands with us as well.
Where does Sri Lankanization stand right now?
Well, we've got into quite a bit of corporates now, and group of companies who are starting off with one of their entities, two, and then gradually bring, then universities and campuses, right? But still, I would say it's just a pin drop.
Right.
Of the entire ocean.
If we are to basically fast forward this whole track, I don't even know, 5 years, 10 years down the line, what does success look like for Sri Lankanization? Where will you, at which point in your life, would you say, we did it? What had to happen for you to say that?
So, I see this branding of Sri Lanka as a next tech hub, right?
Will it happen though?
It will happen if we are able to push this through, build some group. Come on, who wouldn't want to come to Sri Lanka and work? Digital nomads would love it if we have proper infrastructure, proper plan, if we are a country with so much of opportunities, right? We will see Westerners coming to live and work here. Because this is what they want. You go towards the belly lower side, the knuckles and all of these. You can spend millions of dollars, but you'll never get that.
Yeah.
You'll never get that. And people are looking for it, and we have it for free. But do we value it? These are places that we need to develop, man. We need to develop these as tech hubs, not these buildings. Right? Develop those put some pods out there. Staycations, workation, and that was a brand that we came out with as well, workation out there. There's so many people who are looking out for places like this, and everyone's, by 2030, they say 80% of today's jobs won't be there, right? People will be working freelance, people will be working from all over the place, and this is what they would love to come to. And Sri Lanka is an amazing place. We are geographically well situated, right? How do we build ourselves acceptance? And today with there was a there are prompt engineers, right?
Right.
Basically trainers, training the GPT models itself. So whatever that we comment, whatever that we type in, sometimes we say, no, this is not the response that was looking for, then that triggers on the back end. And those are being manually changed by prompt engineers out there as well. But Sri Lanka was a no sourcing country. Why? Because we had fuel crisis, we had internet crisis, the electricity issues. Come on, these kind of organizations not going to come and put their money into a place where there's no stability, right? So as you said, how can the government? These are things that government needs to go out there. We need to go sell ourselves as brand, upskill ourselves. The moment we have skilled labor, that's not going to be a problem at all. It's easy sell. Today we cannot sell without having people. It's a chicken and egg scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, like you said, we have a brain drain situation going on right now, and the brain drain is actually in that mid level. It's not in the senior level, and it's not in the starting level either. So what seems to be happening is the fact that the mid level is a vacuum that's there in corporates, and your starting level has been pushed up without that upskill abilities to that mid level, and sometimes a senior level also has to step down, and there is a massive clash going on there, right? There's a huge clash because the starting level is not ready to be in the mid level, and the senior level has much more things to do than step down and look at the mid level, right? So this brain drain is a huge thing in Sri Lanka, in which we are now experiencing it, because it is now that it is coming to hit us hard, of those individuals who left about a year ago.
So you see, today it's a new world.
Yeah.
We've come up with new technologies, new stuff happening, and it's new to all.
Yeah.
You may be a boomer, millennial, Gen Z, alpha, doesn't matter. You got to all adapt to it. And today the biggest, as you said, the mid-level is the millennials that who have left the country.
Right.
And then the folks, senior folks are getting even more senior, right? So once you hit those 50s, 60s, it's very difficult for you, the energy, right? But there are ways that we can actually use those kind of folks today with AI in place. Use them as strategists. Use AI to support them, right? How they can maximize the usage of it.
The AI can't replace experience.
Right? It can't replace experience. It can actually make, you can actually use AI to make your experience it's going to actually give in more and more assistance for them, and it's going to contribute.
Right.
They can actually be contributed, but who's going to teach them? There need to be a senior citizen program, right? They're mentally, physically, and then technologically. How do we support them? Then to the people in the mid-level, okay, there's brain drain, but how do we brain gain out of those folks who are out of the country? I've spoken to friends when I've actually running this initiative. I've told them, bro, can I get 1 hour of your time per month just to mentor a couple of students or people? Just talk to them, right? We can actually start, we need to start using, brain gaining out of these people who's actually left the country, or who are in good places out there in different organizations across different industries. So these are programs that we can come up with, right? Industry specific programs. How do you grow in this particular industry? What are you passionate about? At least to talk and ask that guy. Today, there are no intellectual people that these youth can talk and ask them, what's my next step?
Right.
Give me my roadmap.
Right.
There's nobody to talk to, man. Yeah. Right? Everybody's happy with, happy-go-lucky. Right? Even the parents are unable to, right? Because they have their own problems that they're trying to sort out to bring food to table.
Yeah, that's true. Zaf, you spoke about the Emiratization, which actually prompted you for Sri Lankanization. How well has that been accepted in Dubai?
Oh, very much.
What have they done for it to be accepted, which you can possibly use here?
So you see, the biggest problem where I see why Emiratization came in, because you see, every time I look at something, I look at the problem why, they would have come up with a solution and the impact that it can create. So as you can see, the UAE locals, right? It's not a UAE local run country when you take UAE.
Right.
But when you take Saudi, for instance, today, it's a very Saudi-run country.
Mhm.
So that's a fear probably the UAE also has, that they do not have their locals in the right organizations and right places, nor are they skilled.
Decision-making places.
Decision-making places, right? And what's going to happen to the future kids? Now, when you look at some of these videos out there, they're like, how do you afford these and all? You know, this is my father's money, right? So bringing that into sense is where they brought this Emiratization. So their problem is they have too much. So they came up with Emiratization
Right.
to tell them you need this as well, the basic. Our problem is we do not have anything and we need to bring them up to that level.
Right.
So it's about how you look at your perspective, right? I would love a person wanting to spend their money out there and buying some branded clothing or whatever to wear it, because that gives them a sense of confidence, and I want to do more.
Right.
Like a person who flies business class once, he always try to, put an effort on how he could work around it in order to do that.
Right.
Right? I mean, that is the mentality one should try and build across ourselves, to be that challenging, wanting person.
Yeah, but now it's very commendable in terms of obviously bringing this program to light, and I'm sure there are lots of. It's going to take some time. It's not necessarily going to be openly accepted the next day, but I think we are also sitting in a position where corporates will now understand that you need this. I think you are in a situation where you can actually make the brain drain work for you. Because this is going to work because you have a brain drain, the situation. But in the future, I mean, if anyone's listening in right now, and a final question, maybe a student or a young professional is actually listening right now, how can they actually get started with the whole with the familiarization of Sri Lankanization? What's the process?
Okay, so the process is, you talk to us, right? This is our contact details, and talk to one of our consultants out here, have a chat with them, or write to us and tell us this is where you are, this is where you want to go, and how we could probably help you on the roadmap. You could go online, buy the platform, 7,500 rupees. You get 1 year of free internet of 20 GB, 500 minutes per month, free for like every month for a year. And you have a learning platform so we can help you create a learning path on that, right? And you can earn certificates out of it as well. You'll learn more. Then we can also give you a blog playbooks where you can actually experience or do labs, right? There's so much that we can support you. First, this is just, as I told you before, the platform is just a tool or a means to the greater initiative that we are trying to do, right? Be a part of this community. If you are a trainer or you're passionate about something that you've learned and you think you can teach this, you got opportunity there as well with us, right? So be a part of this community, right? Easy to kickstart. Go on hutch.lk/Sri Lankanization, and you've got all the details out there. And also write to us. Don't just get the platform. Tell us where you want to go, so we can curate it and customize it accordingly.
Brilliant. Zaf, I think you are actually starting something. I mean, you've actually started something really, really pertinent at the moment. A situation where the country actually needs it. And also, like you said, we are also a country that has tons of individuals coming out of the university with so much theory knowledge, with very little practical knowledge, and everyone's trying to actually put the theory into the practical sense of things without experiencing it. Sri Lankanization, how I see it, is something that will definitely be helpful for everybody out there, and especially it's not the Gen Zs, it's not the alphas, because they're born into it. You know what I'm saying? They don't necessarily need that upskilling of Word and Excel because they're born into it. It's the generation, it's the millennials that actually who sort of disregarded it for such a long time. Now it's coming to bite them in the back because they do not have that skill to take them to the next level, right?
Correct. I mean, again, it's not only about the Word and Excel, because even today Word and Excel has been replaced by Copilot,
Of course, Copilot. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
You don't have to do anything. Copilot does it.
It's exactly, but then you need to learn on how to use Copilot to do it.
That's right.
So here it's about how do you use whatever tool that's available to do whatever that you're doing today much better.
Right.
You might be selling coconuts, you might be selling tea, you might be doing whatever, craft work. Today, how do you use technology to make it more efficient, make it better? So it's for all.
Right.
Cradle-
It's good. In terms of my final question to you, Zaf, is I'm sure you have certain KPIs that you've obviously put down for Sri Lankanization. By the end of 2025, you would like to be somewhere. 2026, you would like to be somewhere. Are you in a position to share that with us?
Yeah, so we've put in certain numbers, 10K by the end of this year, and 25K by the end of next year, and 35. So that's the kind of next 3-year plan.
Right.
Each year, that's our plan. But this can go kaboom.
Yeah.
If it's actually people see the value out of it, I think this can go.
Where is your core pushback, if I may to ask you? What's the problem? Why are they not taking this on, if they're not taking this on?
I think as you rightly said, there's a lot of opportunity out there in the government sector that needs to be upskilled and trained, because that is the core heart of how everything else works.
Right.
And if we can actually train them, right, from the Ministry of Education to all the other ministries, meaning Ministry of Education roots down to the teachers to the students as well. I think that's a huge potential, because you see, Trainocate alone can't be going and training them. Trainocate alone can't be going and mentoring them. If we can educate the educators to manage their own classes, we're building a community out there, pockets of communities out there. And this is what we're not here to take all credit to Trainocate. No, we cannot do that. The moment I do that, this is lost.
Right.
Even the our goal or the passion to do this, or it's killed. The words not coming to me, but it's all about how we can all work together towards it, and everybody put their own strength.
Collective effort.
And this is not only about IT knowledge, right? We're actually telling them to think rationally, think more effectively in using these tools to make it better.
Right. It's great. Zaf, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I want to wish you all the very best for Sri Lankanization. And I know you're actually on the cusp of something really big at the moment, but it needs to be accepted, which I think is going to be the first step, and then adapting is the second step, and of course being familiarizing the whole situation. But it's a long journey.
It is.
And I'm sure you'll definitely actually achieve it at the end of the day.
Thank you, Shek. It felt good. Right?
Yep.
And let's do it.
Let's of course do it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. More great individuals who are obviously out there using technology to make sure that the world is a better place, to upskill individuals out there who are finding it difficult to grasp what's going on in the world. The world is going to leave you behind if you do not upskill yourself, and if you do not actually get on that boat where everybody else is, with AI, with tools, AI agents, whatnot. But for you to get there, you really need to understand what's going on and upskill yourself. That's what we're doing, and talking to individuals who are making differences in the world of technology, and of course the world of IT, right here on Meet the Tech Titans Season 2, which is brought to you by Hutch. We'll be back with another very special guest very soon.